Good morning, everybody. This is Nate from the Kraemer Life. Today we got something really cool going on. We consulted with a forester and he is going to be coming out today. We're going to be walking the property, taking a look at the different timber that we have on the property and doing an assessment to see if anything is worth the value for timbering. We have our special guest here. We have Rick Sluss. Is that
Sluss.
Right? Yep. And you're with
F&W Forestry.
Okay.
A lot of people call me Ranger Rick.
Ranger Rick. There you go.
That's just what they call me.
That works. That works. So we're going to be heading back to about the last 25 acres of the property where there's hopefully enough marketable timber for it to be worth a while.
Yes.
So we're going to go head back there. We've already identified a few. We have some yellow poplar.
Yellow poplar. We got red oak. Obviously a lot of cedar. We got some cherry in here. And we did identify some ailanthus, which is an invasive species that we've talked about maybe getting that removed as you go along.
As we go along, yeah. But nothing marketable yet, so we're
heading back to hopefully find some mature timber, yes.
Yep, and unfortunately, the way back to the river has overgrown quite a bit since last time we walked it, so we're gonna make our way back the best we can. So this is the yellow poplar you're saying?
Yes, that's really what the target species to be for this property, because it'll grow well here. And you've already got a pretty nice stand of poplar, becoming established inside of that cedar. And that poplar will grow above the cedar, and over time the cedar will fade out or phase out, and the poplar will take over.
Okay.
That's really your target species for this property.
Okay.
Because it's already here, and it'll grow well here.
Yeah. And then what is this side?
This one's the sycamore.
That's the sycamore, then that's the sugar maple behind it.
Oh, wow.
Hard maple, sugar maple, same thing.
Okay.
This one's here, black walnut.
Yep. There's another one right down there.
Okay.
They're pretty easy to identify. They're much darker than any tree in the forest. I mean, they kind of, especially in the wintertime, they'll stick out.
Okay.
There's nothing that dark.
A portion of our property also goes. It goes up to the ridge.
That's really the only mature timber you got right there.
It's right up on the other side of the creek.
Other side of the creek. You're not gonna be able to cross that creek. Most of that's beach, though. I mean, I can see from here it's a lot of beach.
Okay.
That's not very valuable. You got some red oak and stuff in here.
Okay.
And there's a dead ash. That's what it's telling you. That ash tree there.
This one.
No, right here.
Oh, okay.
See how it's dead? Look.
Yep.
The emerald ash bore's gotten that tree there. So about the ash borer kills probably 90% plus in this area.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So none of the ash is going to make it, is what I'm saying. A lot of it looks like beach, but you can tell that's mature woods. I mean, you look over here, see how small the trees are, and you get the cedar. See how there's no cedar or anything over there? That's all mature. That's what you would need to have for a harvest.
Okay.
Is that size, those size trees.
Okay. Yeah.
So you're a few years away from
that side. Okay. Say a few years, we're not talking 30 again. We're talking.
No, I mean here you're talking at least probably 30 years. Over there you could cut that now.
Oh, okay. And is beech a decent?
A lot of times it'll be hollow in this area. It's not a high value species to begin with, but it tends to get hollow over time. So my guess is a lot of it will be hollow.
I think the area that we're going to, we've never actually been all the way back.
No.
Into it.
And I don't know if we're going to be able to with.
Yeah, it gets really thick.
With the growth. We can start doing visuals and see if it's worth exploring back there.
Yeah.
All right, so Rick, right up there's the river.
Yes.
And so we have kind of a triangle right back here.
So we're kind of on like high floodplain right here. So it looks to me like we're going to go out onto like maybe a little bit of a floodplain.
Well, it goes down probably 20 feet.
20 feet, yeah. We're right above the floodplain.
Yeah.
So I'll let you kind of explore. We can.
So you got more walnuts. See how dark they are. See how they kind of stand out from the other trees. Those are walnuts. These are hackberries. See how it's got this funny. It's got smooth. It'll have like smooth bark like a beech tree.
Yeah.
But it'll have like these wart-looking bark. That's all hackberry.
Hackberry. Okay.
And you'll find that along your waterway. So you Hackberry is kind of associated with creeks and rivers. So this right here is probably 80% poplar. It's this young poplar, so you just need to let it grow. It'll start competing for sunlight, and it'll more or less choke this understory out over time.
Okay.
You got some pine in here, but the pine will fade out. The poplar will be what you'll have 20 years from now. Okay. This will be solid poplar.
Great. So is there anything we need to do in here to help it, or
not yet? We're a little bit too early probably. I would just let the stems still compete and grow straight. Mm-hmm. But over time, as you find these nicer, straighter stems like this one right here, yes, what you'd want to do is maybe you got two little sassafras trees, these smaller trees around it. Mm-hmm. Over time, you'd want to remove. It's already made it above the sassafras, but the more you clear out around this tree, the faster its diameter growth is going to get. But you don't want to open it up too soon to where it just flushes out. You still want that height growth. So what I'm saying here is these stems are still putting a lot of energy straight up, and that's where you want the energy going. But when it begins to start to top out, you want to start removing the stems around the better, straighter stems to give it more diameter growth. It'll speed up the growth.
Yes. Okay.
But if you open it too soon, the crown will get flat. It'll still get growth, but you'll lose some of your log height because it'll start. The limbs are coming off because they're being shaded off as the trees grow up. So if you open it up too soon, you will retain those limbs, which will reduce the number of logs you'll get.
I gotcha. Okay. That makes sense.
So right now, I would not do anything.
Okay.
But probably in the next maybe 5 to 10 years, come in and start targeting these better, straighter stems and just start removing stuff around them to where that crown can get as much sunlight as possible.
Yeah. Okay.
How far of a diameter around them would you want to remove?
Not much. You don't have to do a whole lot. You just need to release the crown.
Okay.
And actually, the reason this tree is growing so well is because 2/3 of its crown doesn't have any competition. And then 1/3 of it on this side is being competed with this poplar here and that pine. See how the crown's fuller on that side than this side?
So if that pine was gone, it would... that pine's not worth anything. I mean, you could remove that pine and let that poplar get all 360 degrees of light. Mm-hmm. But that's a very young tree. That tree's probably only 20 years old. It may not even be that. Yeah, most of these trees in here are for sure less than 25.
Okay.
And see this one here, see how it's retaining its limbs?
Yeah.
That's what you don't want. You want more height growth on it before it's released. Whereas this tree is just open, so it's going to retain its limbs longer. See how this one's already shedded its limbs?
Yep.
If you open it up too soon, you're going to retain those limbs, which creates knots, which reduces the amount of clear lumber you'll get.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
See how that's still retaining its limbs?
Yep.
This tree's shedding them. And then the further you go into the forest, the quicker they're going to shed. And all that's left is just the top.
Sure.
And it's just putting all its energy in that top.
Yep.
But once they get to a mature height, then they'll start putting on weight. They're still growing. You're 20 years away from them reaching their maximum height. Okay. But you can see what you need to remove. Like this sassafras, it'll never be in. This is it's not even a marketable tree. But like this little sassafras there's a sassafras. Just take those two trees out and just get as much energy to the main tree as you can. Yeah. You're what they call a crop tree. Yeah. Those are our crop trees. Yeah. And there's plenty of them out there, but I still think you're a few years away from doing that.
Yeah.
Is there any reason to go further back, or you think this is all too young?
It's all too young.
Okay.
This is what you want to remove.
Okay.
Over time, and you'll have to spray it. I mean, after you cut it, it'll sprout, so you'll need to put some herbicide on it.
Okay, and you said there was a cost share.
There is cost share programs. You'd have to apply at your local NRCS office and see, but there is some cost share programs for invasive plants removal. Now, Ailanthus would be one of those.
Okay.
Yeah, I would definitely open these trails up to give you access. But most of, see here, look at these poplars here where they got a little bit better soil content right here closer to the creek. I mean, look how well they're grown.
Right.
I mean, you're a few years away from this, but if you come back in 10 years,
you'll be surprised how big these trees are.
Okay.
I mean, they won't be as big as that, but I mean, you'll be shocked because the understory will start to disappear once these poplars get up there and the crown closes over. And you start getting shade. A lot of this understory will disappear. You're a few years away from that. These are very, very young trees.
Okay,
Very
so
young.
we can really just kind of let that do its
I wouldn't touch anything. I would just let it go.
Let it do its thing.
Yeah, and if you need some fence posts, just go in there and cut the cedar trees.
Okay, and then just
You're
start-
never going to run out of cedar trees on this property.
Right, that's true.
I mean, you could cut 1,000 cedar trees. You're still probably not even halfway there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
and so then just,
I would slowly remove the cedar as you needed it.
okay,
I mean, the cedar's not going to be worth anything.
okay.
So we're from the Pacific Northwest, and so
Yeah, you-
cedar is huge, and we're like, look at all this cedar, and then we get here, and everyone's like, oh, cedar's worthless out here. And we're like, what?
Basically, fence posts and barn posts if they're big enough.
Yeah.
And you do have a few local wood crafters who saw cedar, but it's a minute niche market. It's
Right.
extremely small.
Okay.
You'll be surprised in 10 years what this looks like.
Yeah.
It'll look like a forest too. It won't look like a jungle. It'll start looking more like, oh wow, that's a forest. Right now it looks like a jungle
Yeah.
because it's young.
Yeah.
That is.
To me, it looks like all old field.
Okay.
It's
And
just
just growing
abandoned
up?
field because everything in here is pretty much wind dispersed seed.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, there's not any oak in there, which tells me the seeds that are in there blew in there, so
Okay.
it was open.
Got it.
Interesting.
And then the birds carry the cedar seeds. So once you get any type, and the birds just moving around will bring the cedar in.
All right, so Rick just left, and we learned that we don't have any marketable timber now, but in about 20 years we will. There was a nice stand of poplar and some other species that will be valuable later. The task for us now is just to let it be. We basically do nothing for 10 years. Maintain some trails, cut down any trees that we want to, any of the cedars and stuff for our own personal use. Anything that was old field, old crop field, take out. There's nothing of value. Even the big trees with trunks that have a huge girth to them, because they have branches that stick out, it becomes useless timber. So it's a little disappointing, but at the same time, at least now we know what we need to do.
Yep.
So,
Makes us rethink where we're going to put some things.
yeah. What do we see here? So Karen has been broody for a while, and we just let her do her thing, and sure enough, we got some baby chicks. That's so cool. I'm so excited. I'm very, very excited about these baby chicks. This is the first animal born on our homestead. This is the coolest thing ever. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
What you doing, pretty girl? Are you being a good mama?
Little chick feather.
Yep. Little baby feather. Alright, well, I guess I'll see babies later. We got babies!